What if I told you that we have it all wrong when it comes to self-love? What if I said that self-love is nothing like what you believed it was? Would you trust me? Would you hear me out? Now, this realization isn't one that came to me overnight. It took years of me walking on different healing journeys and trying to move on from childhood trauma to get here. It took years of me writing about my pain and mental health and sharing those pieces with my online community before I finally reached the conclusion that I know nothing about self-love, okay? I know nothing. You see, I thought I had a pretty good gist of what self-love can do for you. Because, we all think we have a good idea of what self-love is, right? In fact, if I were to pick any one of you at random in this room, I'm certain that you'd be able to give me a one-line definition of self-love. The problem isn't our confidence in what self-love is. The problem is in our concept of self-love. And when I finally figured out the concept, I decided to share it with the world. And in my book, The Path to Self-Love, that I published earlier this year, I bundled together all my experiences, as well as my tips and tools in one place for all my readers to access. But why didn't I stop there? Well, I had made a revelation, and I needed to share it with everyone. So, hello, everyone. I needed to tell anyone who would listen that we have it all wrong about self-love. And perhaps we've always been wrong. But see, now I figured it out. Now I've got the key to the door that leads to happiness. You're welcome. Now I've got the key that's going to set you free from the cage of pain. Because the truth is, we're all caged in one way or another. Each one of us is walking on a different healing journey. Some people are on more than one, and others, they're barely walking at all. I myself started the biggest healing journey of my life at a very young age, because I was only 4 when my mother passed away. And as I stand here today, 3 days shy from my 30th birthday, I can tell you that my entire life has been guided by that single event. When I replay that day in my mind, a memory as vivid as the one of what I had for dinner yesterday forms inside my head. I can remember everything. Coming home after school and rushing up the stairs to our one-bedroom council flat in a house that we shared with another immigrant family. Racing my brother up to the top to see who would be the first to reach the top and hug our mum. Smiling and teasing him because I was confident that this time I would win. I remember stopping in my tracks the moment I saw her, and then the rest of the day is a blur. Images pop in and out of my head. My dad in the only quiet corner of the room. My neighbors huddled together outside, talking in hushed whispers. My family rushing in and taking charge. I can see people talking, but I don't hear any voices. It's as though a long ping is playing on repeat in my head, and I just can't make sense of what anyone is saying. There are just mouths moving, people brushing past me, heads nodding, shoulders shaking. I see faces, though, pained faces, tear-stricken faces, empathetic faces. Too many faces that have now crowded that small one-bedroom flat that was my safe space until just hours ago. That was home until just moments ago. Too many faces, and none of them is hers. Have you ever had such an experience? the memory of which follows you around no matter where in the world you go. Because that's what happened to me. Till this day, this memory still haunts me. After my mum passed away, we were moved swiftly into another council house. Despite being a British Afghan Sikh, which is a community that not many people are familiar with, I've never actually visited Afghanistan myself, so I only know of the dusty lanes, the pointy hills, and the vast villages through faded photos and the stories that my dad and aunt told me as I was growing up. After the Taliban rose to power in the late 1980s, thousands of Hindus and Sikh minorities were forced to flee for their lives, and my family were amongst those that carved their way out and immigrated to the West. And we had only just began our life in the UK before my mum tragically passed away. And after her death, my dad, my family, and my home were never the same. I spent nearly 2 decades grieving a loss that I never knew was a gain to begin with because I no longer remembered what it was like to have a mum. And it was heartbreaking. For the longest time, all I wanted was for it to stop hurting. And when I turned 21, I reached a breaking point. I couldn't do it anymore. I needed to heal. And it was here that my childhood love for reading and writing helped me. By then, I'd been reading and writing for most of my life. And through sharing my writing online, I gradually built an online community of readers, which is currently at 1 million, and it's unbelievable to me. I created a YouTube channel and a blog. I recorded podcast episodes. I wrote articles. And I even published 5 books in the process of trying to heal before securing a publishing contract with my dream publishing company, Penguin Random House. My writing started out as a form of journaling, and through that I realized that I had a really long way to go in terms of my biggest healing journey. And when this realization hit me, I decided that I needed to make changes in my life. This is where I discovered self-love. Pretty quickly, it became apparent to me that those who were practicing self-love looked so much happier. They were more successful. They were having all these wonderful experiences, and they were surrounded by their loved ones. And I wanted that too. I wanted to be free from the pain that had shackled around my ankles, making every step towards a happy life a difficult one to take. And self-love looked like the answer to all my problems, because it seemed to be working for everyone else, so why not me? So I started my self-love journey by doing what we all do. Going online, right? I mean, I literally Googled it, okay? Because how else am I supposed to get the answers to questions in this day and age? And Google didn't disappoint because there it was, the treasure chest of self-love jewels. Or should I call them self-care jewels? Because you might agree with me when I say that we all do this when we go on a self-love expedition. We start chanting positive affirmations to ourselves. We take ourselves on these self-care dates. We go for walks. We drink our 2 litres. We join the gym, and we go on a diet in the hope that we're going to feel better about ourselves. And that's just what I did. And I continued to do this from months to years. And although on the outside it looked like I was taking care of myself, on the inside I was still feeling very low. My deep sense of self-loathing was a consistently throbbing headache by this point. And I was trapped by this strong feeling of loneliness. Have you ever felt like this? Where you follow what the journals and magazine and social media is telling you. You listen to what health professionals say about taking care of yourself, but nothing seems to work. You're still not in love with yourself like you thought you would be. You still haven't healed from that lifelong trauma that stalks you like a dark shadow on a gloriously sunny day. There's a reason for this. And it's because we still don't know what self-love is, apart from being a buzzword in modern day culture. And hear me out, okay? Would you be surprised if I told you that self-love isn't just chanting positive affirmations to yourself or taking yourself on a self-care date? Self-love isn't just having all the bubble baths and doing yoga under the sun. Well, more like under the rain and the clouds in the UK, but you get the point. And this last one was very hard for me to accept too, and it hurts me till this day. Self-love isn't just grabbing a caramel latte for some me time with a book in a café. I know, it's sad. It is more than that. But because most of us don't search for that more, we're restricted to this empty practice of self-love that does all the stuff that it needs to on the outside without fixing anything on the inside. And deep down, we know that it isn't working because we're still struggling to heal. We're still carrying pain in a backpack that's weighing down on us and making it achingly difficult to walk towards happiness. But we continue to practice it anyway with the shallow belief that maybe one day it will work. We continue to paint our walls without thinking about our collapsing infrastructure. Think of yourself, someone who needs to heal, as a home that is crumbling and needs to be repaired. When you practice self-love in the way that I just mentioned, by doing only the external self-care stuff, you're painting your home from the outside without going inside to restore it properly. You're making it look shiny and brand new, but the foundation remains the same. To practice life-altering self-love, you need to go inside your home. You need to examine one room at a time, and you need to ask yourself, what does my home need to heal? Now repeat with me. Come on guys. Let's go again, second chance. What does my home need to heal? And this self-love, the type that will allow you to not only paint your outer walls, but also to go inside and work on your foundation, it's what I call tough self-love. But what is tough self-love? Because I can see question marks on all your faces. What is this random lady on the stage talking about? Simply put, tough self-love is facing the parts of yourself that are uncomfortable. The parts of yourself that you struggle with. For me, tough self-love was asking myself the difficult questions about my past trauma so that I could move forward. It was sitting alone with my icy thoughts and trying to unpick the emotions that lay underneath. What would your tough self-love be? Perhaps going to therapy or joining an AA meeting, asking difficult questions, apologizing or getting closure? Or is it setting boundaries and cutting people off? Essentially, tough self-love is doing all the difficult things that we've been putting off for so long and hoping to hide with the surface-level self-care stuff that we take part in. When I first started to practice self-love, I only managed to touch the exterior of what I was healing from. I worked out at the gym with the hope to build physical strength without thinking about what I needed to do to build emotional strength. I gave thought to the food that I was putting into my body, but I wasn't considering the negative self-talk that I was feeding my mind. I focused on my wishes without pausing to wonder whether my wishes, which were founded upon a chaotic and broken childhood, were even good for me. Because of my false belief that self-love needs to feel good, either in the moment or soon after, I put off all the trauma and the healing work that could have helped raise my self-esteem and lead me towards a happier life. But the moment that I figured out that self-love isn't what we've been shown it is, I made strides in my healing journey. Through practicing tough self-love, I worked on myself from inside out rather than outside in. This means that just changing your exterior isn't going to change how you feel about yourself. You need to change the foundation of your self-beliefs, which will help raise your self-esteem and lead you towards a happier life. And tough self-love will do that for you because it's the bridge between you not only looking taken care of, but feeling it too. But at the end of it, only you know what your home needs to heal. So if you want to grab a matcha latte, go for it. Grab all the matcha lattes you need. I know that I do, because despite what I said earlier, I love a good caramel latte with a book and a café. They're truly my ultimate form of self-care. And go for the walks and the Pilates classes and the yoga sessions. Meet your friends for a coffee and have as many bubble baths as you want in the name of self-love, if that's what you want to do. Paint your outer walls as beautifully as you can. But remember, painting your outer walls is only going to take you so far. Eventually, you will need to open the door and look within. So, how will you redecorate the inside of your home? Thank you.